There hasn't been a new asset class since the bond market was created in 1693. Well, now there's a new asset class, and it is the digital asset space. The question is, are you participating? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good evening. Yes, indeed, it is Generational Wealth Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you guys. Really excited. We're going to talk about something that I think is really hugely important. A lot of people miss it. It's one of the game changers for us in life. And I think it can be a game changer for you. We're going to talk a little bit about this because I think it is important to figure this out. So we're going to talk and share a little bit with you guys tonight. Yeah, Generational Wealth Wednesdays. David Best is in the building. How are you, David? How's it going? Crypto Cajun, it's going great, my friend. How you doing tonight? Good to see you in the stream. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about it. Generational Wealth Wednesday, how to get your money back. And I believe this to be the best way there is. Thank you, David. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that big time. I appreciate you being here tonight. Yep, Generational Wealth Wednesdays. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Without question, old money doesn't want you to win. We got to figure it out. Right? And the options and are available to us, and they have been available. We just got to figure them out. What's going on, D. Kirchner? Hey, I'm all about generational wealth, without question. You know, our formula here on the Crypto Seas channel, generational wealth equals digital assets plus sound saving instruments multiplied by a cash flow business. A cash flow business. That's the formula here on the Crypto Seas channel for generational wealth. So we're going to share a little bit tonight with you guys from that formula. But most importantly, really the topic of the night could be why everyone needs to have a home-based business. Why everyone needs to have a home-based business. We're going to talk about that. Right? Great time to be in the digital asset space. I can tell you that. You know, I'm going to try to keep on target with Generational Wealth Wednesdays, but I got to tell you, really excited about what's going on in the digital asset space. Really am excited. And again, I'm going to say this, guys, do not sleep on that MoneyGram and Uber partnership. Don't fall for the sleight of hand. Don't fall for the misdirection. That, my friends, is bigger. I believe it's going to become bigger than what most people think. Let's not sleep on that. Don't fall for the misdirection there. Because we've all seen, shout out to Lee from SPQR Media, again reminded us of the slides where Amazon and Uber via XVIA tying into the Ripple API. Cannot forget about that one. Right? Can't forget about that. And also we can't forget the video with Ashish Burler speaking to the fact of these great tech companies, fintech companies like Uber and Google, Airbnb, Amazon, who spend hundreds upon hundreds of money on, they have hundreds and hundreds of employees, 200 employees focus merely on the payment side of their business, both Amazon and Uber. 200 employees. Why? Because the payment system that's set up for today cannot meet the needs of their business. So they have to go out, expenses, human resource, whatever it is, to have 200 employees. When in reality, they're a fintech company providing a particular service, but they have to get involved in payments and try to figure that out via 200 employees, because of the payment system today doesn't allow them to free themselves up from that kind of stuff. Did you guys see that video from Ashish Burla back in, I think it was 2018, might have been 2019. Make no mistake about it. When he said, we went out and we met with the people from Uber. We met with the people from Google. We met with the people from Airbnb. We met with the people from Amazon and discussed how we could help improve their business model and let them focus on what they do, right? Airbnb is not in the payments business, right? Uber is not in the payments business, right? So yeah, I know I get excited about that, but I don't want to stray away from the topic, Generational Wealth Wednesday, how to get your money back, and more importantly, why every single person, I believe every single person needs a home-based business. A home-based business. How to get your money back. I'm going to talk about that. You know, on this channel, TJ Jackson, we say all the time, we must think and act like a financial institution. We must think and act like a financial institution. We must think and act, not just think, but act. How many of you guys know that the wealthiest of the wealthiest, they own their own? They're in business for themselves. Like a lot of people think, it's, it's the superstar athlete who signs a contract for 100 million or 200 million. That's the wealthy. It's not the wealthy. How many of you people know that the person that signs $100+ million contract as a highly paid employee of a sports franchise will pay more in taxes than the owner of the sports franchise? How many of you guys know that? One of the more famous stories was when Antoine Walker, I believe, was the first or second person to get that $100 million contract in the NBA. 100 million. This is back in the day. You're talking about Antoine Walker. And the next day he owed 55 million in taxes. This dude and his agent managed to get Antoine Walker back in the day. This might have been the early 90s. $100 million contract. And the next day, this dude owed 55 million to the IRS. Why? Because Antoine Walker was a highly paid employee. That's why. He was a highly paid employee. Got 45 left. The agent's going to take his cut or their cut, if not the lawyers involved in it as well. And when it was all said and done, this dude had 10 million, maybe 15 million, maybe, out of 100 million. Why? Because he was a highly paid employee. So it's not important for us. It's not enough for us to just think like a banking institution, think like a financial institution. We must act like one as well. And how do you do that? Well, for us, for the average Joe and Jane, one of the first things that we must learn to do is how to get our money back. It's our money. We earned it. We earned it. Someone said, my mentor would say to me, there's a middleman between your money and wealth. And that man is interest. It's interest, which is just a form of taxation in a lot of ways. It's very challenging, right? And this is the biggest thing is we don't know it. I hear Robert Kiyosaki all the time. This dude says it all the time. Rich Dad Poor Dad channel on YouTube. You can go to richdad.com. He says it every single time. He pays less in taxes than the employees that work for him. Yep. So how do you get your money back? I would suggest, after you do your own homework and do your own diligence, certainly want to do that on your own. You want to make sure that you come to the that you come to your own conclusion, right? Make sure that everything that you do is based upon, you applying discernment and coming to your own conclusion. What I suggest, what I think personally, is a home-based business. Why? Because it's the simplest way for you and I to be in business for ourselves. The second we do it, we now have gone from, check this out, right? We now have gone from 8 tax write-offs to 475 tax write-offs. Did you know that? Did you know that? Do you know on the Paycheck Protection Program, right? There's a stimulus check for $1,200, right? And did you know for the Paycheck Protection Program, people who are in business for themselves get $10,000? So you got $1,200 or $10,000. $1,200 or $10,000. And the difference is an employee or someone who's in business for themselves. The vast majority of people don't realize that it is a matter of like most people think in business for themselves. You know what they think? Oh my God, I got to go get a business loan. I got to find a place. I got to find some land. I got to find a lease. No. Home-based business. Home-based business. Not brick and mortar storefronts. The home-based business person. 475 write-offs. What's going on, Eric? Good to see you in the stream. Danny Kephart is in the building. What's up, Danny? 475. What's going on, Crypto Cajun? I think I said hey to D. Kirchner. Eric Williams is here, my brother from another mother at work listening. With coworkers have no clue why I'm flying. Coworkers have no clue why I'm flying. I hear that, Eric. Appreciate you being here. Be safe at the job, bro. Right? Oh, TJ Jackson, thank you, man. Just shared your Facebook Live to my Facebook page. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, TJ Jackson. I appreciate that big time. Right? TJ Jackson, the second you start a home-based business, and here's the thing that's so funny. Again, a lot of people think, going in business for themselves, they skip over the home-based business. They totally disregard it. They start thinking again about storefronts, brick and mortar storefronts. No. Home-based business. Did you know something? Let me share something with you guys that this is going to be a revelation and a half. A revelation and a half, maybe 2 revelations for you. Did you realize, TJ Jackson, hey, for sale, what's going on, my friend? Hola, hombre. Did you realize, this is going to hit you hard. Did you realize that the person who spends $2 million for a McDonald's franchise and the person that spends $85,000 for a Subway franchise and the mom and pop who start their store for $35,000 and the home-based business owner that starts their business for $1,000 or less, did you know that they are all working to get the same dollar? Did you guys know that? Just pick a figure. Pick $5, pick $10, pick $20,000, pick $50,000, pick $100,000. Did you know it's the same $100,000 for everyone? You know what a lot of people think, and this is the absolute truth. A lot of people think that the $100,000 that the person who owns a McDonald's franchise makes is actually worth $100,001. Hey, TJ Jackson, they think it's $100,001. They think it's more. Did you know the people who they bend over backwards take their life savings and open up a Subway franchise. They think that the $100,000 that they're going after is actually $100,010. They think it's more. And guess who else thinks it's more? Their friends, their neighbors, their families. They think it's more. They don't think it's the same $100,000. The mom and pop who go around for months trying to find the right neighborhood to open their business, for some reason, they were not told the truth. That the same $100,000 that they're trying to make is the same $100,000 that the person that's coughed up $1 million to open up a McDonald's franchise. It's the same $100,000 that the home-based business owner is making. They're not different or going for. They're not different. For some reason, people think the more money they spend, the greater the value of the dollar that they make. It's the same money. It's the same money. And if that is the case, why would you not start yourself a home-based business? Yeah, I promise you something. When the Subway owner who spent $75,000 to $85,000 for a Subway franchise, and they get to deposit $5,000, they don't get it. They don't get the Subway owner $5,000. That makes it $5,005. It's still $5,000. And when the home-based business owner goes in to deposit their $5,000, it's the same as the Subway franchises owner's $5,000. And guess what? It's the same $5,000 for the person who just coughed up $2 million for a McDonald's franchise. Same $5,000, right? It's the same money. It's the same money. The people that pay the most taxes are employees. And everyone doesn't realize there's a reason for that. The United States government's powers to be recognizes the home-based business owner as the biggest contributor, one of the biggest contributors to the economy. 8 tax write-offs for the employee versus 475 for the home-based business owner. Here's the thing that teenagers, in my humble opinion, should be taught right around 16 or 17. Right around 16 or 17. This is the conversation. What do you like doing? Right around that time, it's going to come time for you to pay some taxes, right? Right around the time, whether it be 16, 17, 18, and 19, and you're about to get your first job. What do you like to do? What do you enjoy doing? What do you have fun doing? I don't know. I like watching videos on how to do hair. I mean, I like doing that. I mean, I've been going to cosmetology school. Oh, cool. So do you have a I like doing hair business? Oh, well, what do you mean? Yeah. I like doing hair. Could you teach someone how to do hair? Then you can have a business. Did you know that consulting is a business? You can be a consultant from home and have yourself a home-based business. And so the second your teenager says, oh, you know what? I really like teaching how to do TikTok videos. You do? Really? Yeah, I love it. I've been doing it for 3 years now. I've been doing TikTok videos for 3 years. Oh, really? So could you teach someone how to do a TikTok video on their phone? Maybe go live on Facebook once a week. Go live on Facebook once a week. Go live on Facebook once a week. These are my tips. These are my favorite ways to do TikTok videos. Business, home-based business. Home-based business, consulting. You get yourself a channel, a YouTube channel, consultant. You get a GoDaddy website, home-based business. It's as simple as that. Look up the tax code. They got consultants, sole proprietors. They got independent contractors. Those people get the most write-offs. 475 versus 8. Are we kidding? Are you kidding me? And you don't want to start a home-based business? You know, so the second you have the conversation with your daughter or your child at home, and they say, yeah, okay, yeah, I like to, I love to do that. I would be able to do that. Awesome. Here's what I want you to do next. What's that? I'd like you to call your friends and go hop on over to Chick-fil-A. Why am I going to do that? You can go over to Chick-fil-A and you're going to share with them your excitement that you just started your own business as a consultant doing TikTok videos. Really? No way. You're going to do it as a consultant? Yeah, I love it, you know, and I love teaching, and it's just a great way to do it. And I actually have a YouTube channel. Really? Wow. Yep. Now, after that conversation, get yourself some lunch and keep the receipt. You just shared with someone your business, your consultant business. Did you know that was a write-off? Did you know that if that person, that particular teenager had a car, that car and the mileage and all that stuff can become a write-off? Certainly consult with your favorite tax person. Yep. Don't go on vacay. Go on workday. Right? Don't go on vacation. Go on workcations. All of these things in the tax code. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's in the tax code? They didn't have to be in it. It's a crazy thing. People don't get this. They didn't have to write that in the tax code. They could write whatever they want in the tax code. But they chose to put it in the tax code. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? You got to think about that. And I'm convinced, I'm so thoroughly convinced that the vast majority of people, right? The vast majority, and here's the thing, a lot of people don't know, right? So if this is a fact, and it is, that 95% of the people, by the time they reach age 65, they can't retire. 95% of the people that reach age 65 end up dead, broke, or dead broke. I just learned a couple of days ago, forget the guy's name who I was listening to, that today, the average baby boomer, the baby boomers are retiring with $50,000 or less. Or less. 50,000 or less. And a lot of people missed one of the biggest bamboozled, hoodwinked instances that took place. And a lot of people missed it. And no one ever thought about it. No one thought to think, did you know there was a point in time in the history of the good old US of A where 80-something% of the families had their own business? They were in business for themselves. Did you know that? 80-something%. Everyone had a mom and pop shop. Everyone had, farming, bringing produce to the market. Did you know that? And then one day, this is the truth. I challenge you to Google it. Then one day, J.P. Morgan and Mr. Rockefeller walked into a certain office and said, you guys know who we are, right? Yeah. J.P. Morgan, back in the day, I'm talking about the J.P. Morgan, right? And I'm talking about the Rockefeller. I think we need to take this, because it used to be in the school system that they taught you reading, writing, arithmetic. They taught you about who was the creator. They taught you about finance, the difference between a liability and an asset, and taxes. At one point, these things were taught. And then one day those dudes said, you know what? I think we need to take that out of the educational system. I think we need to take that out. Google it. This is what he said. I don't want thinkers. I'm not trying to create thinkers. I'm trying to create workers. That was Mr. Rockefeller himself. I've been saying this for I don't know how long. I didn't even know that there was a quote. I just figured it out. I didn't even know that Rockefeller said that. I figured it out. I've been saying for I don't even know how long. They, right? That's why I got the old money. Don't want you to win. They would rather have employees. They don't want us being in business for ourselves. I say it all the time. I didn't even know that this dude literally said, I'm not trying to create thinkers. I'm trying to create workers. Wow. And do you realize he had to say that more than once for that to literally go down in history as a quote? In other words, he didn't just say that amongst his boys, right? Behind closed doors, right? Behind the curtain. No, he had to say that somewhere publicly for it to be quoted. That's an interesting thing. Took it out of the school system. You ever realize, I remember that, and it's funny because I heard someone yesterday and earlier today. And it's so funny because she said $80,000 to $90,000 a year. And she said, this is 10, 15 years, if not longer ago, 80 to 90,000 a year. And she said, I just always seem to find myself broke. And I was making $80,000 to $90,000 a year from the projects to $80,000, $90,000 a year. And I remember thinking, I remember it like it was yesterday, feeling like, and this is the honest truth, guys. Like I was in the, all right, federal employee, right? Working at the highest level facility in the FAA since day one. So I didn't journey up from, level one, then, journeyman my way up to level 2, right? I started at the highest level facility, most complex, most volume, the biggest stress, and it was right around the Washington, D.C. area where all the crazy air traffic safety goes on. Oh, it's madness, right? This is where I started. And I remember thinking to myself as a young guy, I was 20 something years old, and somewhere between 125 and 135 I'm making, right? And I remember saying to myself, I said this to my dude. I said, I don't know why, but it feels like I'm making like 80 grand a year. It feels like I'm making 80. It doesn't feel like I'm making 6 figures. I remember that. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy feeling. And this lady said the same thing. I'm making $80,000, $90,000 a year, and I'm broke. I'm living from Friday to Monday. Not Friday to 2 weeks from now. Friday to the following Monday. That's tough. That's tough when your hard-earned money only lasts you a weekend because you're paying for last month's stuff. You're paying for the 30 to 60 day bills that are owed. You're paying on those, right? I remember thinking that. And do you know why? If I had that feeling, like I'm feeling like I'm making 80 grand a year, and she has this thing going on where she's always broke Friday to Monday and she's making 89,000, I suspect that there's a lot of people that are feeling the same way and acting the same way and having the same kind of results. And I believe, and so does she, her name is Dr. Lynn Richardson, by the way. I think she's called the celebrity financial or the financial advisor, the celebrity financial advisor or something like that. So she's like the financial planner to the stars, right? I saw her on an interview with Tip talking. But if I was thinking that, she was thinking that, I would suspect that a lot of people thinking that. And here's the reason why I know. Here's a fact. Less than 3% of people save. Less than 3%. Less than 3%. Yes, for sale, she did 100% mismanage her money. The question is, why? The question is, why did she mismanage her money? Why did I feel like the 120 something, the 130 something I was making felt like it was 80? Let me give an example of this, and it's such. I'll tell you a personal story. It is so. I don't know. It's a weird thing, but let me ask you this, and seriously, I seriously want you to think about this. And here's what I want you to think: was I a bad guy? Was I mean? Was I? Let me tell you a story. So, one day in my life, one period of my life, I remember thinking, right? So I was, again, single, right? No kids, right? Single. And again, making that kind of money, whatever, right? Early my 20s, right? And for some reason, and I want you to think about this, and I say this wholeheartedly, for some reason, I found myself, true story, with 3 cars and a motorcycle. Question: why do you think that is? True story, Cindy. Good to see you on the stream tonight, miss. True story. 3 cars and a motorcycle. I kid you not. A Jeep Wrangler, an Isuzu Rodeo, a Honda Civic, and a Mazda RX-7. And the bike was a Honda motorcycle, Honda 600. Why do you think that is? No one that I worked with did that, had that. Right? It's so funny too, because I think about it now, and I think back then, think about it. I remember who was the person in my life growing up, right? Really, really blessed to go to great schools, junior high school and high school, great schools. The country high schoolers would, and junior high schools would, like, strive to get to these schools, right? So I went to some of the most prestigious, not only junior high school, but high schools in the entire country, right? Seriously, in the entire country. In New York, right? I don't remember ever being taught to save my money, to not spend it on stuff, to, spend less than what I make. I never, ever remember being taught that in school. And I never, ever was taught that at home. Ever. 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 And for me, it wasn't about that for sale. I mean, I get what you're saying too, right? Because for me, the gig, right? The gig did that for me. Like being that young and doing that job where I knew the dropout rate, where I knew the success and or failure rate, right? Or it's like, right, it was 60 something just in the school, 65% dropout rate in the school or failure rate, right? In the school. Then if you don't go to the level 1, 2, or 3 facility and you go to the top facility, which is what I did, it goes to 90 something percent that do not make it through the training their first time. So for me, the gig gave me all of that, right? Young in my 20s, right? Yep, I did it, right? It gave me all of that young bravado, right? It wasn't the stuff. The stuff was another thing. Because again, none of my coworkers did that. None of my coworkers had 3 cars and a motorcycle. None of them. Why did I do that? I remember like, what in the world? Why did I do that? I think there's other things, but on the surface, it could be not taught, no financial education, 0, not in the schools and not at home. There's a reason why the savings rate in this country is so low. There's a reason why it's so low. It really is. There's a reason for that. It didn't used to be so low. That's also another thing too. It didn't used to be so low, right? Yep, all financed, except for the motorcycle. I think I might have paid cash for the motorcycle. I think, yeah, right. Crazy thing. No, not being taught. And again, how many of you today knew what I just told you? 8 write-offs versus 475 write-offs. Question: who is teaching you today in this present moment in your life on how to get your money back? Your money. Your money. Who is teaching you how to get your money back? I love that Danny Kephart. Siege, I drove a hand-me-down Pinto for 10 years. LOL. I knew about money from a young age, bro. That's good. That's good on you, bro. That is outstanding to hear. It really is. That is outstanding to hear. Never was taught, right? Who's teaching? Like who? Most people, it's a crazy thing, but most people get the level of awareness in their mid 40s. If JP Morgan, Rockefeller, whichever Rockefeller it was, decided, and they did, said, we're going to take this out of financial education. We got all these corporations, we got all these businesses, we need employees. You're going to take this teaching all this finances, the difference between an asset and a liability. Oh, no. We're taking that out. And they had the power to do it, just like the people who had the power to get together at Bretton Woods and put together a monetary policy. So for most of us, it wasn't our fault. We were never taught. But the best way today to get your hard-earned money back is in a home-based business. It's in a home-based business. And if you're good at a thing, you can be a consultant at a thing. Sure can. Again, the Paycheck Protection Program, this CARES Act, $1,200 or $10,000. Did you know the consultant working from home, sole proprietor, working for independent contractor, working from home, 10 grand. The employee who's going to work and doing their job and doing an awesome job and showing up on time and not taking sick days, $1,200. Why is that? You got to ask yourself why that is. One of the biggest things that, my mentor used to say to me is, Siege, you got to figure out what the rules of the game are and then play the game by the rules. That, my friends, is the truth. And it's indisputable. Everyone says this, right? We've all been taught, go to school, get good grades, right? Go to school, good grades, get a job with benefits. And everyone just kind of, right, marches to that beat. And Robert Kiyosaki was the guy who started people to start thinking again. I mean, there's a reason. Like, how many times have you heard Robert Kiyosaki says he pays less in taxes than what his employees pay? And for some reason, most people miss it. One of the biggest distractions. Yeah, you know how Carl Wagner, shout out to Carl Wagner, said in the digital asset space, he said, Bitcoin is the greatest distraction in the world of digital assets, in the digital asset space. I believe one of the greatest distractions right now in the world, and it's been this way for a while, is everyone is focused on making the rich pay more in taxes, making the wealthy pay more in taxes. And no one sat down to think and say, well, how can I pay less in taxes? What can I do? That's not dependent upon some people in DC that will allow me to pay less in taxes? What is that thing that I can do where I can pay less in taxes, or I can get my money back? I think one of the biggest distractions is getting everyone to focus on trying to get the wealthy to pay more taxes, and no one's focusing on how they can pay less taxes. How to get your money back. Home-based business. Yep. Sole proprietor, consultant, YouTube channel, and a website. It really don't take much than that. YouTube channel and a website, Facebook Lives once a week, downloaded and saved. Sole proprietor, independent contractor, consultant, home-based business. Not go start yourself a brick and mortar. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. Getting your money back. It's a pretty interesting phenomenon. And listen, I didn't make it up. I didn't put that in the tax code, but it's in the tax code. I can guarantee every single person on the stream had zero. No one knew. There was over 400. I didn't know. And I've been getting my money back for years. I didn't know there were so many. I was just doing them. And I have been cutting myself, selling myself short. 475 in the tax code. And there's no qualifications. You got to go to college. You got to have a degree in business finance. You got to study economics. No requirements. It's just written in the tax code. Home-based business, sole proprietor, independent contractor. 475 versus 8. Well, my mentor is, he's got a little bit of an even deeper take on that. It's like, cool. At one point in our lives, there were no taxes. And then you decided to get some taxes, put some taxes in place, receive taxes. And then later, you put it on all these codes not to pay taxes. Well, that's interesting. We lived a life without taxes. You just decided to put some taxes and start collecting taxes. And now you've come up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways not to pay taxes that you implemented. And that's another discussion for another generational Wealth Wednesday. Like, why is that? Right? But for this Wealth Wednesday, how to get your money back, everyone, in my humble opinion, needs to have themselves a home-based business. Thank you, TJ Jackson. I appreciate that. Right? And it's like, don't overthink it. I gave a great example of a teenager. Guys, the reality is Antoine Walker had $100+ million contract, $100+ million, and $55 million gone. Why? Because he was a highly paid employee. That's the bottom line. And he was a highly paid employee because no one educated this dude that he should have a business from home, how to shoot jump shots, how to shoot free throws, how to dribble, how to train to become a basketball player, coaching and consulting on being a better basketball player. Independent contractors, sole proprietors, consultants. No one told him anything. Not his parents, not his friends, not his agent. Travesty. Been there. It's been in the code. It's been in the tax code. Travesty. No one told them. But it started when they decided to take it out of the financial education system because old money wanted more employees and less thinkers. They wanted more workers and less thinkers. And I believe it to be one of the biggest bamboozled, hoodwinked events of our lifetime. And then they turn around and they don't even pay teachers a 1/1,000,000th of what they should be getting. Convince the financial educational system to take financial education out of the system, and didn't even compensate them for it. To this day, don't get paid. To this day, don't get paid. One of the biggest, I'm telling you, the biggest bamboozled and hoodwinked events of our lifetime. But the question is, now that you have been made aware, what are you going to do about it? Because I know that you're good at something. I know there's something that you enjoy doing. I know something that you've been doing for 5, 10, 15, 20, and 25 years that you can consult and or coach someone else who's trying to learn it. Some would argue that if you had a YouTube channel and you're teaching something that it is that you do to those potential up and coming people out there in YouTube land that want to do what you do, some might argue that's coaching and consulting. Cell phone, check with your accountant, your tax attorney. Computer, check with your accountant and tax attorney. The office from where you do your YouTubes, check with your consultant and tax attorney. The automobile that you use to have dinner, to have a consultation, check with your consultant and tax attorney. Home-based business. We've had one for years. And been blessed, right? Been blessed. Hugely successful, right? Been blessed to help people become successful. And it was it's such a funny thing. When it initially side hustle, right? Side hustle. Yep. Gonna do the side hustle, side gig. Yep. Right? Why? You're making crazy. I'm trying to get my money back. I remember the conversation with my boys. I'm trying to get my money back. I'm single. The IRS is loving me. Single, making that kind of money? Oh, yeah, we're coming to get ours, right? Coming to get ours, right? I said, yep. Side hustle. My dudes, my boys, why? I'm trying to get my money back. And then I schooled them to the game. Without question, I turned them on to the game. Did you know that you can do this and you can do this and you can do this and you can do this? You know how I learned all of that? Well, you know how I began my journey in learning all of that? Started a side hustle. I went to, kid you not, either Best Buy or Walmart. I'm looking at the different TurboTax things to do. See them. Okay, yeah, this is me, home business. And I'm like, I Googled it. Which one of these should I, true story, I Googled which one of these tax preparation things should I get? True story. Googled it. And when I did the home business one, it came, I don't know if I did tax home businesses or something. And then started to Google why everyone should have a home-based business. True story. because they said it was for taxes. And then I've learned all of this stuff. I thought it was just, itemized. You could do some itemized deductions. I knew about 2, maybe 3. And then I learned all of this stuff. I learned about a home office and square footage and equipment and the car. I didn't even know about the car. True story. So the question is, it could be something that you're good at. You've been doing it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It could be something that you're passionate about. You really love talking about. And trust me when I tell you this, there are people in the digital asset space who are acting as consultants and sole proprietors in the digital asset space. They may know more about blockchain technology than the person listening to them on YouTube. They may know more about Hedera Hashgraph. They may know more about DAG. They may know more about protocols and blockchains than the person listening. Consultant, sole proprietor. There it is, Jeremy. I like that. Jeremy says, hospital TikTok video consulting. How about it? Absolutely. There's a reason why there's 400 plus in the write-offs and consultants count. There's a reason why they count. The key is learn the rules of the game and then play the game by the rules. Right? You'll make that back up, XRP Lava. Trust me when I tell you, you'll make that back up. It will astound you. And again, TurboTax turned me. They asking me all these questions. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they took me through like 10 to 12 that I had no clue. Like, man. And this is when I still had a full-time job. And then I learned about freaking transportation write-off because of my work hours. I didn't even know that. I learned that as well. I'm telling you, that's the difference. That's how you get your money back, in my humble opinion. Like, get yourself a home-based business. Get yourself a home-based business. It's been everything. This thing turned into something more that I would have never, ever imagined. Never, ever imagined. That's why I didn't put home-based business in the formula. I put cash flow business because it's turned into a cash flow thing. It's beautiful. It's so funny. Started it for one little thing over here, and it just turned to work. And that can happen for you. That can happen for you too. Each and every one of you. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap up the stream. It's been a really, really cool hangout. 44 people in the stream. Thank you so much. Make sure you smash the like and the subscribe if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. It's been a really, really cool hang. I'm loving that. I can't wait to share that with my daughter, Jeremy. Hospital TikTok video consulting, because she loves to do the TikTok thing. So, guys, listen, never ever forget this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought. and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.